All right, let's dive into something really cool today. We're going to look at a project that lets you command your computer with nothing but a wave of your hand. Seriously, no keyboard, no mouse, just you. So picture this. You're kicked back, deep into a movie, maybe your hands are covered in chip dust, or you're in the kitchen trying to follow a recipe on your laptop. You need to hit pause, but, touching your keyboard is just not going to happen. We have all been there. Well, what if you could solve that little problem by just raising your hand? That's the simple but really powerful idea that we're going to break down right now. Okay, first things first. Let's really nail down the problem this whole thing solves. It's a simple frustration, but one I bet you've run into dozens of times. It's that classic dilemma, right? Your hands are greasy from pizza, covered in flour from cooking, or just coated in that delicious but very messy snack dust. Or, hey, maybe you're doing a workout video from across the room and you want to skip a song. These are those moments where a simple key press becomes a huge pain. So, what's the fix? Well, let me introduce you to the elegant solution at the heart of this project. And trust me, it's about as intuitive as it gets. And this is it, the core of the entire system. It all boils down to two super simple universal gestures. Hold up an open palm, show it 4 or 5 fingers, and your media starts to play. Make a fist, and it pauses. That's it. Simple, effective, no keyboard needed. Okay, now for the really fun part. How in the world does your computer actually see your hand and know what you want it to do? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the technology that makes it all possible. It all happens in this simple 4-step loop. First, your webcam grabs an image. Then, the software has to find a hand somewhere in that image. Third, it has to figure out the gesture. Is that an open palm or a closed fist? And finally, it sends the right command to your computer. The first piece of this puzzle is a library called OpenCV. The easiest way to think about this as the system's eyes. It's the powerful tool that grabs the video feed from your webcam frame by frame and basically gives our program the ability to see. Next up is MediaPipe, which comes from Google. Now, if OpenCV gives us the eyes, MediaPipe is definitely the brain. It takes that image and doesn't just see a hand. It understands the hand structure by mapping out 21 key points, or what it calls landmarks.
And finally, there's PyAutoGUI. This is our invisible finger. Once the brain, MediaPipe, recognizes the gesture, PyAutoGUI is the thing that actually does the work. It reaches out and programmatically presses the spacebar on your computer, just as if you'd done it yourself.
And let's just pause on this number for a second. 21. That's how many individual points MediaPipe is tracking on your hand in real time, from your wrist all the way to the tip of each finger. That incredible level of detail is what makes this kind of precise gesture recognition even possible. So how does it use those 21 points to actually count your fingers? It's all based on some surprisingly simple geometry. See, on a computer screen, the y-coordinate value gets smaller as you go up. So if the tip of your finger has a smaller y value than the joint below it, the system knows that finger is straight. If it's the other way around, the finger is bent. It's a really clever and efficient way to figure it all out. But hang on, what stops the system from freaking out if your hand trembles or moves just a little bit? The answer is the number 8. The software has to see the exact same gesture for 8 frames in a row before it'll actually do anything. This builds in a really crucial delay for stability. And this is exactly why that's so important. Without that check, the slightest flicker of your fingers or even a passing shadow could make your video start and stop over and over again. This 8-frame rule makes sure your commands are intentional, and it stops your video from having, well, a seizure. Okay, so we know how it works, but the next big question is, what does it work with? The answer might surprise you. It's almost everything. I mean, you can see all the heavy hitters right here. We're talking YouTube, Netflix, Spotify, VLC, Prime Video. Pretty much all the big streaming and media players you'd expect are covered. But here's the secret to its genius, why it's so universal. Because that invisible finger is just pressing the spacebar, it works with basically any application that uses that same keyboard shortcut for play and pause. It doesn't need complicated integrations, it just uses a convention we all already know. Now, whenever a camera is involved, privacy is, of course, a huge concern. And that's why this next part is so important. Everything, and I mean everything, happens right there on your local machine. Your camera feed is processed in real time, and then it's gone. No data is ever stored or sent out to the internet, period. So, where does this all leave us? We've seen the problem, we've seen the simple solution, and we've peeked at the clever tech behind it all. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture.
At its core, this whole project is really just a beautiful, simple equation. It takes the very advanced field of computer vision and marries it with simple keyboard automation. And the result is a truly effortless way to control our devices.
And honestly, this is just scratching the surface. Just imagine giving a thumbs up to turn the volume up, or swiping your hand through the air to skip to the next song, or even pinching to zoom in on a map. The foundation built here could be used for a much, much richer gesture vocabulary.
Ultimately, projects like this are pointing toward a future where how we interact with technology is less about clicks and keyboards and more about natural, intuitive, human movement. It's really about making the machine adapt to us and not the other way around.
Which leaves us with one final pretty exciting question. With our hands now free to command our screens, what will we command next? Thanks for tuning in.
And remember, please subscribe to Jass's Classroom.